Yeah.
Welcome to the Take It Home podcast. The podcast so bad we really just need to take it home. I am one of your hosts today, Doc Simmons, and I am joined by two beautiful men today. Whoever wants to introduce themselves first, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go first real quick. Gunnar Wicks, thank you for calling me beautiful, Doc. Much appreciated.
Anytime, baby. Big nasty right there.
And I'm Perch, and I'm here to take it home with you boys.
All right, this is, I guess, officially episode 1 of the Take It Home podcast. Just a bunch of Milwaukee wrestlers chronicling their journey, their weekends through this wild wrestling business. Why don't we start off with something a little simple? What wrestling have we been watching? Why don't we start with Perch?
Yeah, so wrestling we've been watching. This week was actually a pretty good week of TV wrestling. If you're following along with the All Elite Wrestling, which I certainly am, Kenny Omega has been making a name for himself after he took the title from Moxley. And as a true fan of pro wrestling, God, I'm still pissed off that he got that title dirty.
Yeah.
And now I have to see him flaunt it around on Impact Wrestling, and heard he was at AAA Wrestling over the weekend and everything.
Yeah, he's still the mega champion down there. So him and Laredo Kid looks like they had a banger of a match that I want to check out at some point. I know AAA puts all their stuff up on Twitch or YouTube, so I'll probably check it at some point.
Yeah, I some highlights from
crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty damn cool. And as far as it goes for pro wrestling, it's cool that you can follow along by watching or listening or keeping up or reading, and that's kind of an awesome story that I've been following. So that's where my mind's at on as far as wrestling I've been watching and keeping up with.
Good shit. How about you, Gutter?
This week, I honestly haven't really watched a ton of wrestling. Today, I did watch Bruiser's match on Ring of Honor, the Bouncers versus Briscoe and PCO. So I saw that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, haven't watched a ton.
All right. I have been going through a WrestleMania rewatch in order. I'm up to 23, I think. 23 or 24.
Nice.
Match I just watched was Money in Bank match with MVP, CM Punk. Jericho came back, so it was that one. Jerry won that one. So Jericho.
Is that Chicago?
I think so.
Right in that era, Chicago, Detroit was right around there too.
Yeah. Good, you know. Those early Money in the Bank ladder matches are all pretty good. I think this was like the third one at the time.
When did they spin off into like their own pay-per-views?
I don't know. I guess I will find out.
Soon.
They stop being on WrestleMania that I'm watching. Like, I mean, like that's like the weird thing about it is like, you know, I'm just catching like the end of a full year of wrestling.
Yeah.
With not necessarily, like, unless I remember the storylines, I necessarily don't have, like, the deepest context for what's happened in the year. So it's always weird to see how people change character-wise, and then especially physically seeing people grow, because, like, watching Chyna, like, 4 or 5 WrestleManias in a row, like, watching her, like, be the enforcer, be this muscly, and then, like, when she definitely had just done like the Playboy issue, so now she's like a sex symbol. It's interesting. It's just interesting to watch. Slowly catching up on stuff for the Super Juniors and World Tag League. That's been pretty good. My man, Chaos Factor, my man Toriano and Ishii, I just watched them versus Evil and Yujiro, the Tokyo Pimps. I really love Toriano and Evil. Anytime they match up, it's just good fun. Just real fun matches. So sadly, Yano came away with a loss, but it's all good. It's all good. There's
Yeah, it
still
serves him
plenty of
right.
tournament to go.
Serves him
Whatever.
right.
Whatever.
I'm sure Toriano had it coming with all the shenanigans he pulls.
It's like the screen always goes black. I don't know what's going on there, but the screen goes black and Yano's on top. That's all that matters.
Somehow finds a way. It's that resiliency that gets you.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for the wrestling we watched. What about the wrestling we did this past weekend? All of us were on shows with each other this weekend, which me and Perch are going into our third year. Gunner, you're in your second year.
Not quite yet.
Oh, not quite yet.
Nope. So we're about a year and a half in right now, a little over.
Okay, a year and a half in. Well, the point I was going to make is that it's very rare now that we get to spend a whole weekend with each other.
Yeah.
Not like it was like a year ago. Even not necessarily because of what's going on right now with the pandemic, just because we're all becoming our own wrestlers and spreading our wings and just working different places. Perch, why don't you tell us about your weekend? Because I think you only had the one show on Saturday.
Yeah, like you said, it's always fun when we get to work together. Not that we ever took it for granted, but we make the most out of it every time. Growing up together in this business, we're also very young. We also, like to get out and venture and get as much experience as we can. Outside the state and outside the region. So yeah, it was awesome to be able to work with you guys this weekend. And it was a home game for Brew City Wrestling, which again, that's always like a block party.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's by far the closest venue, being 20 minutes down the road. Which that does not come around often.
Yeah. Definitely. Even for me, that's still one of the closest venues to go. So always appreciate a good Brew City Wrestling show. Hate that drive.
Yeah, there's always always a little extra comfort when it comes to that home game. I think I sweat through a few less shirts. I think I sweat through 3 as opposed to 4 or 5 in that drive. And but yeah, it was a great show. We had a great Jingle Bell Bash. So it was the holiday edition kind of promotion show, and nothing too festive until I was doing some commentary at one point during the tag match, and out comes a red and green holiday colored kendo stick. So I think that was the only holiday theme I saw the entire show, now that I think of it. But yeah, it was Brew City Wrestling Jingle Bell Bash, and I think we had 8 matches on the card, 7 to 8 matches, and I ended up reffing 2 on the card. So it had a good time. It felt like a lot of felt like a wrestler sort of, with you get there and you're just waiting for your match, and then you get done and then you're just waiting again.
Yeah, definitely a rarity for you.
Yeah, normally there's 100 things to do, and luckily we got everything we needed to done early to get inside the ring, get a little practice in, warm up, do some stretching, get the body right. So was feeling right mentally, physically, and yeah, went in and had a couple of great matches. First one was Sky and Sierra, which is great feud as far as wrestling goes. You guys know it just as well. Growing up around here, we get to work with some good girl talent like Sierra and Sky frequently, and it's not lost any opportunity here in the locker room with them. Great workers, great wrestlers, and Sierra has taught me, as well as I'm sure you guys too, just a ton with coming from the same area.
Oh yeah, Sarah's definitely one of the people I go to when it comes to reaching to promoters out of the state and advice on other promotions and stuff. So she's been a very good senpai to me. And Sky's been awesome, just awesome.
Yeah, I feel like we don't have a lot of like women wrestlers, but the ones that we do have are pretty solid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no complaint.
I completely agree. And then the next match I had was Aesop against Ethan Matthews in a
It's the stupidest match ever.
it was a pepper match. The basics was each guy had to eat a
To be
hot
specific,
pepper.
to be specific for any listeners, though this is just our first episode, so probably not many who weren't there. It was a Carolina Reaper match. So Carolina Reaper being the hottest pepper in the world, they started the match by eating one and proceeded to wrestle. And that was painful to watch.
Needless to say, I wore gloves. And my pre-match instructions were, if you guys are going to puke, keep it outside the ring.
Very smart.
You guys know it. When it comes to the pregame instructions, I'll always run it down. Sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes it's nonsense. Sometimes it's, keep you with let you know the prayer that's going on. This time it was for real. And I said, you better keep that shit to the outside if that's happening in this match.
How come every pre-match instruction I ever get from you, Perch, is to not ruin your moment?
It's Perch out here laying the knowledge for the youth out there. It is pre-match instructions for me to do it.
I'm already nervous enough going out there. He just always has to add an extra element to it. So
like, hey, don't fuck up.
Yep. It works, though.
One last thing. Don't fuck up my moment. Oh shit! No, needless to say, it's never happened. But no, it was great. It was a fun time, a good main event. The crowd went home happy. Maverick came. Now this is the part I had no idea, and I don't know most of what's happening. Storyline wise, I try to keep in with it as much as I can. But the match happens, and all of a sudden Maverick comes out at the end, and he starts beating up on Aesop, and then out of nowhere Stacey Shadows comes out, and she's got one of the most badass entrances I've ever seen in any wrestling. And she came out earlier in the night with a good song, but she came out and she had a pepper in her hand, and she missed her sock code. Maverick with that hot pepper, and I was laying by Aesop saying, "Ooh, hey, this is getting good."
Yeah,
so I got to enjoy that one.
I felt bad for that because I know he does not do spicy foods. And for anybody who was wondering, these were not gimmicked peppers. These were the real deal for some reason.
It should have been gimmicked.
Just showing you fans how much we love you. There's no reason why those couldn't have been gimmicked. You weren't. It's not like the fans were going to pick them up and eat them. But
I think it's like a big thing around here. Match stipulations, and especially in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, is sometimes you'll have a beer match or a shot match, or in between falls you have to chug a beer, or you lose, you take a beer, and the people around here take that serious. when they drink during a match or something, they seriously do it. So maybe there some elements of that carrying over.
That Midwest integrity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. But yeah, that was my weekend of shows right there. That was rather fun. A great show. Made the most of it, and good to have you homies there afterwards too for a fun time.
All right, I'll go next, and we'll just stick to the Brew City show as we hopefully wait for one more to join us before we log off. Only because Gunner probably had the biggest moment of the weekend so far, so let me just get in my little stuff. I came back after being gone for a month. After dying from a second rope package pile driver, then having Whiskey Bitten Hellbound, Max Holiday, and James Vincent lay me out post-match, I made a triumphant return to horribly dropkick them, but stick to Spinneroonie, which is really all that matters. And to reunite with my tag partner, Zach Hendricks, as Country Air in Brew City Wrestling. The moment was good, but the dropkick was terrible. The dropkick was awful. Can't hide from that. Just weird spacing. Sometimes in these buildings, that roof is a little bit low. It's one of those things where it's like, if you do what you're taught to be in good position, you're actually in bad position.
Like how so?
Yeah.
Like, because they position themselves to take the bump where they're supposed to, but because of that, they're so close, and that roof is like I can't jump high.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, everything is right, but because everything is right, it's wrong for this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the whole point is the crowd reaction, and the crowd reaction was good. So who cares? That was really it for my night. But like I said, Gunner, you had the most complicated match and biggest spot. So why don't you talk about your Saturday?
I don't know how complicated it was, but it was me and Chucky, Killer Instinct versus Sideshow, Nacho, and Cypher. It's a pretty fun match, except for the fact that we lost the BCW tag team titles, which I know, very sad.
Well, I mean, luckily you don't have to drop those to Country Air now, but
we had a pretty good run with them, I feel like, so happy about that.
Had a damn good run with those.
Yeah.
Had a damn good run.
And next month we got the Funhouse match, which is kind of like a hardcore match with, I'm sure there'll be some interesting weapons that Cypher and Nacho are going to bring to the table. So we might get them back and have a second run. Who knows? But so that match last night, was 2 nights ago, was pretty fun. Beginning of the match, I got to jump off the turnbuckle to the outside and hit a crossbody on Nacho and Cypher. That was exciting.
Gotta see the replay of that one.
Oh, yeah. Put it up on Instagram for everyone to see. So, shameless plug. But, I was very nervous going into it because, I don't go to the top rope or anything very often. But luckily, no one got hurt except for the 2 I landed on a little bit. But, so that's a good match. I got to so we lost the match. Got to beat up people with a kendo stick afterwards, which felt really good to swing the kendo stick around again. Chucky was the one that wrapped it up in Christmas lights, so it looked all nice and pretty. Was really hoping to break that stick in half over Cypher's back, but which didn't happen. Tried real hard, but the lights busted, which was a pretty cool effect. But that's a fun match. Crowd seemed to like it and had a good time, besides the whole losing the title part.
Good. All right. We are joined by our 4th host. Why don't you introduce yourself, homie?
For those who know me, I'm the outlaw Zach Hendricks. How we're racing ourselves, based out of Milwaukee. Also, the not as beautiful half of Country Air.
Well, I did say everybody on the podcast was beautiful already, so you definitely are a part of that group.
Well, thank you.
By being on the podcast. We're just talking about right now our Saturday nights. Gunnar had the biggest spot, so he just went last. I talked a little bit about what we did, but if you want to talk about it from your perspective, go ahead, homie.
Yeah. I like any chance I can get a live promo going on. I like it because I am more nervous about doing promos in front of a crowd than anything else. So anytime I can go do that, that's like gets those butterflies in my stomach where I'm like hoping I don't speak too fast or too low. and hoping it has a good reaction with the crowd. I think the first half of the promo, being honest, wasn't as solid as I was hoping it to be. But I think the point came across when I climbed on the ropes and told Whiskey Bent and Hellbound that we were going to kick their ass January 9th. And everyone, like, when people like went, we, and everyone saw you in the back climb up, and I heard the pop. So it was like people knew, and ducking that clothesline with that smooth transition, baseball slide, and having you drop kick and them clear house and us standing tall. It was a nice feeling, and I was hoping, like, even though West Dallas is too far from Waukesha, we haven't tagged in a Brew City ring since February of 2019. Like, it's a long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that, like, half the crowd knew who Country Air was like, it's a nice, gratifying feeling knowing that, like, we're on the right track to, like, get this tag team that we're, like, really been establishing this year into effect. So that was a nice feeling. And then, like I can't say it enough, like, standing in the ring with, like, one of your good friends and, like, doing what you love to do and making magic together, as non-weird as that sounds, like, it's always a good feeling to have that.
Nope, it's okay to mark out for yourself because I definitely am. As soon as I popped off the hoodie and had the Country Air jersey underneath, and they start chanting Country Air, I popped.
I had the goosebumps. Like, I was like, I like my leather jacket, but the jerseys are just so much more comfortable to wear.
Yeah, like, another thing, like, so I know we had talked about it. So the spot was supposed to be, I hit the spinneroonie and we hit our tag pose. I hit the spinneroonie, rip off the hoodie in our tag pose. But when they erupted when I took off the hoodie, I immediately got back up and started slotting the jersey. It didn't stick for the picture pose.
No, it's totally fine because I didn't get behind you just because when you popped out the hoodie, the crowd just, like, was like Country Air, and, like, it was just that moment you felt and you're like, I feel it right now. Like,
yeah.
It's not a pose. Maybe we could have, like, done the pose at the end, but it was one of those moments where you couldn't just sit still.
Yeah, it was good.
Next month, like, be my first Rise to Honor, which, I mean, I don't know, like, everyone in this group chat knows, being a Thumpers Den student, like, Rise to Honor is a big deal. And, like, I'm pretty pumped that I get to do it with you.
Yep, it'll be a good one. And go up against Whiskey Pit and Hellbound, Max and Roadhouse, two people that we've learned from. To step on the biggest stage and Bruce City wrestling with them is going to be good. We're going to
two guys I trusted last year. Guys who took me under the wing and promised me I'd be a world champion by the end of the year. And what happened? They got injured, and I carried the team on my back. And then when it was time for them to be go time and us to destroy, do what we were going to do, they threw me to the side. I mean, if we're being honest, they kicked out the best. I'm going to be a mark for myself. They kicked out the best member of Whiskey Bent and Hellbound.
Well, arguably the one with the most luxurious hair. All right, so that was everybody's Saturday. Now, Perch wasn't there. Let's talk about our Sunday.
All right, life lesson number one in wrestling. And I took all day to evaluate it. I kind of realized why Gunner and Mav were so over. Not saying, like, you guys can't get over because you guys are phenomenal. But, like,
that's what you thought about all day.
And, like, the perspective I'm going with is how a ref can really change the dynamic to make a tag team a heel or baby or have no confusion. As in, like, we did the tag match and I took heat. And Doc said it. Pretty sure Gunner really did say, because he just goes, I'm a monster. He'll take advantage of it. Every time you guys would pull the heat or do something to get the crowd to react to you the wrong way,
yep,
the ref didn't react to it. So it was like you guys were choking me in the corner, choking me on the refs. There was no count. Like, so why would the crowd get mad that you guys are pushing the limits or there's no limits to be pushed?
Yeah, got to have rules to break them.
Yeah, in retrospect, like, it's pretty much a baby. You guys are just the aggressors, but, like, I feel like in the fans' eyes, it's a baby versus baby match. But also, like, the crowd loved Mav. Like, those girls loved him. And you were the monster, and I think they dug you guys. We should flip the
Dude,
switch.
yeah, Gunner's problem is that he is a very cool looking guy.
What?
Like, you generally get cheered when you first come out. You look good. You look cool.
Yeah, it is kind of okay, yeah, you're right.
You're
right.
You know you get cheered a lot when you come out, and then you have to work to get the booze. You
Yeah,
look cool.
I've never thought about that actually, but yeah, it's always I gotta get them to hate me. I never just go out and get,
Immediately booed because
You have like the cool road warrior paint. Like everyone wants to cheer you.
yeah.
You have like a modern day road warrior look. Like if Road Warriors and Kane had like a baby, it's Gunner Wicks.
But okay, so for the listeners, just to expand a little bit, Sunday, me, Zach Hendricks, Gunner Wicks, and Mav Boone all traveled to Indianapolis, Indiana for Asylum Wrestling Revolution. They had their basically Toys for Tots event, and they were gracious enough to let us participate. We had a opening tag match, Country Air versus the team of Mav Boone and Gunner Wicks, coming out sexy in that black and red gear. A little bit of a drive. We got there a little later than we wanted to. Thought we put together a solid match, but I think we can all agree this was an L. This was a team L. All parties involved in that match just did not make it the best thing that it could have been.
No, definitely not. I was thinking about the match too a lot today. I don't know. I know we're giving ourselves a lot of shit for it because we could definitely have done a lot better, but I don't think it was a complete shit show. Like,
it was not a complete shit show. It just is a shit show at the time when you don't want it to be a shit show, which
yeah,
is
just, yeah, doesn't meet our standards. We put on ourselves, that's for sure.
That's the thing. It's leading up to the finish. It's not bad, but going into that finishing sequence, everything goes wrong at one time.
The worst thing that happened in that match before the finish was that horrible kip up.
The worst thing that happened in that finish sequence was the bell that nobody knows came from. So to give
obviously it wasn't the refs count because the ref didn't count.
Yeah. So for Perch and the people who don't know, Zach was on the under. I come in, fall the fire, make the comeback, go to pin Mav. There's a little miscommunication there. But eventually Gunner is back in, dominating. Zach comes in to save me, and as he makes the save, the bell rings.
Yeah, like literally as I step foot in the ring, the bell goes off, and me and Gunner are just staring at each other. And like we had to look at each other. He knew, we're still gonna go. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
It was a very awkward moment, and like it was so awkward that like the arena was quiet, and you hear the boys in the back yell, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah.
Like, the guys in the back have no idea what's going
on. Yeah, so just a random bell at an inopportune time definitely threw ourselves off towards the end. That just really left a bad taste. And then, like I said, freaking Mav and Gunner were just over from jump, from the entrance. They were over. Not to say that the crowd didn't like us in our entrance, but like, it's we're taught, the entrance is part of the match when you're as a heel. That's the time to get heat. The crowd loved them. The crowd loved them. The crowd did not want to hate them at all. Mav is a real good heel, real good talker, so he can definitely draw that emotion from a crowd. But I guess it was a couple people's first time at the show, and they loved him.
They didn't I think Mav he took his shirt off and poured the White Claw on his chest. I was hoping people would get disgusted, and these girls were like, he was like, I can tell he was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
This.
It was a perfect example of I'm a firm believer that there's a time and place for everything. There is no such thing as like a real sales spot. You just probably needed to do it different place, different venue in front of a different crowd. And this is one of those examples where everything that Mav has done before to get him heat, to get anger from the crowd, actually made the crowd love him more.
I mean,
There's people nowadays are just looking for entertainment, when
Yeah.
it comes with wrestling or trying to get out. I can imagine just being someone out there, giving it their all. As I can imagine, Maverick is giving it his all into whatever ridiculous thing he's doing out there. He's giving it, So the crowd's gonna take that reaction and probably the first live thing they've seen in Lord knows how long. So that's funny as hell.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you've seen, Perch, you've seen Mav matches, you've wrestled Mav matches, you know what a Mav match is like, you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to shove his hand down his pants, pull out whatever he grabs down there and blows it in your face.
He's going to do the fake chop to the nipples.
Yep. But the crowd ate it all up. They loved him. He was their hero that day.
I was taking heat, and no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
And
They were happy to have him.
Like, I know I did the fight.
That's
I
ridiculous.
did enough fighting back as I could, but like, yeah, it was just one of those things. Like, if we all should have just flipped the switch in the ring, but I mean that's hindsight 2020. We should just start attacking them, go heel, and like call in the ring, and maybe like
salvage the emotion of the match, and then maybe technically the match would have came out better because we did have a couple rough spots, couple
it's our debut, and like we didn't want to do nothing to like mess it up, and I mean lessons learned.
Yeah.
True. But the promoter liked it. Fans were into parts of it most of the time, so.
Doc and I did sell a shirt.
Yeah, so that's a plus. Yeah, we were just a little off on everything that day. Like, my drop kick if it connected, it wasn't by much.
Yeah, but the ring, like, I don't want to make excuses, but like that ring was super. Like, I get it. Like the venue's a cool venue, but it's hard to like set up a ring and get the ropes tight and everything when the ring's on a slant like that. Like, it was a pretty noticeable slant. Which, I mean, when we're in times like this and you don't really have a lot of venues to pick, like you get what you get.
Yeah, I know. I think this is a newer venue for these guys too, but. It is like I said, the venue is cool, looks dope. Like, it's a great place. Like, hope they continue to run shows there because it looks awesome. But that's just an adjustment on our side as workers that we have to make to adjust to that little bit of slant because it's awesome. It is a good looking venue. It's a really dope setup. Me and
winter is coming.
Yeah.
Winter setups, winter teardowns, winter hauling, winter everything.
I am grateful for a place like that has a decently spacious indoor locker room leading right to the entrance ramp, so you don't have to like travel around or anything. Because remember MKE?
Yeah.
Oh, that was no locker room. For one day, it was a great locker room. We had like the backstage of a hair salon. We had the whole hair salon.
That was the best one. But
that was great.
Had to exit that building to go to the entrance that was outside, and these Midwest winters ain't cool. They certainly ain't cool.
No, it's not cool. It's not cool at all. But you take it like you said, you take what you can get, but anything that you can get that's a little bit nicer, has a little bit of accommodations it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's also really cool, like Gary Emmett, like understanding, like, when you do these drives and like for the guys who are like newer, like everyone knows the grind of like driving, being there for setup, staying for teardown and stuff in that nature, and just sacrificing the lack of sleep. But when we have a promoter like Gary who looks at us and he's like, "Aren't you guys from Milwaukee?" And you're like, yeah. He's like, you guys can leave, like go home, like understanding that like they have enough guys to do the tear down, like us sure, like are you sure? But just letting you know, like giving the light, like hey, it's Sunday, we know you guys got work, get home and like get home safe. Like you appreciate guys like that because they understand like hey, it's a Sunday night. These guys drove out 5 hours, long drive. Like those are like nice little feelings. Like we can get those little small wins too, like leaving like a couple hours earlier than you could have.
Yeah, so I guess in my case it would have been better had we stayed because by the time I got in back home, because everybody else lives in Milwaukee, I still got to drive a bit further. By the time I got home, it was time for the dogs to like get up in a half hour, so the female wasn't happy that I got them up a little early.
Hey, you have a bed right here.
She said I should have stayed with you.
I'll tell Val, get on the couch.
But it was a good experience. Shout out to Asylum Wrestling Revolution. They put on an amazing show. Freaking Miles versus Braden Lee was crazy.
For them doing this stuff off the top rope with how like loose those top ropes are, like congrats, like that is some phenomenal balance.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like when people say, "Oh, Doc, you are a high flyer," like let me tell you something. There are some people out here who are 1,000 times better than me because I touched those ropes and I was not confident in anything I could do. But these guys just went out there and killed it. It was nothing to them. Those are guys that you look at. They're a couple of years ahead of us in the business, but it's good to see. Like, all right, yeah, that's where I want to go. That's an obtainable goal to have, is to be as good as those guys and have the confidence in the ring to work with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of those learning experiences, and that's comes down to watching the matches, watching the cards, seeing what separates different people, and any of that stuff that we can get to scratch off the roadmap and learn, and to see someone do it before us so we can figure out what we want to shoot for or something we want to try. I mean, that's awesome. And you can get that with any kind of a show. So sounds like it was an awesome one over the weekend.
Definitely. And shout out to Dysfunction for being the connect on that and helping us get out there and being able to show what we can do. So it wasn't up to the level that we hold ourselves. Hopefully we'll be back next year. We've talked to the promoter and he said he would love to bring us back next year. So when wrestling is coming back to Indiana, Country Air, Gunnar Wicks, Mav Boone, we'll all be there. All right, so that's it for the weekend. Let's talk about what's upcoming. Once again, a show that we're all on, we have ICW this week. All right, ICW, it'll be in West Allis at the Paul Tanner Hall Auditorium. Is it auditorium?
I think it's Tanner Paul's Hall, right?
Maybe. Yeah, a lot of halls in the area. I don't know, Perch, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, ICW, man. There's nothing like it in Milwaukee. It's a great feeling, a great show, great promoter, Dysfunction, great learning. I like the venue. That was actually the first building where I ever got paid. So that the venue has always got a little bit of sentimental meaning for me. And I think I still got that, $5-10, whatever, hanging on my fridge. Because it's not too long ago that was. So we're still getting the experience, and it's always fun to play at Tanner Paul Hall in West Allis.
Trust the local to know the building name.
Yep. No, that's going to be great. I love ICW. It does happen to fall on a Packer game on Saturday, which Dysfunction always checks it, makes sure it's not on a Packer game, but they flexed it. But that being said, we'll still be there. We're faithful. We can always find out how the Pack's doing. Someone's always got the phone or video going. But no, I'm excited for it. Usually I get to ring announce for the pre-show, so I always get stoked for that. Get to welcome everybody to ICW. It's a job that I know I suck at, but hey, you gotta suck to get better.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and a guy said to me last time, he looked at me dead in the eyes and said, "You could be worse." That was like the highest compliment I could imagine getting. I was so thrilled.
I mean, I would say that's a step up from what everybody said about your Insane 8 commentary.
Yeah, that's a story for another day.
We'll save that for the Insane 8 show next year that we'll do, the Insane 8 podcast. We'll do after that. We'll reflect on where Perch has come as a commentator.
Yeah, I'm not above sucking at things, and I'll be the first one to tell you I will suck. But I'll put in some work to get better, and I'll get better coming out of it. So it's about not being afraid to do it, but having good homies who tell me, dude, you shouldn't do that. But no, it's gonna be a good time, and I'll probably ref the main show.
Yep.
And then we'll be reffing for the main show, so that'll be a good time. Some good action.
All right. So from a ref perspective, what match are you looking forward to the most?
Oh man, there's been some good ones. Just storyline wise.
As a ref, since we have a ref on this, what matches are you looking to ref on that show?
Oh,
we know what we're doing, but you don't really know what you're doing, do you, until the day of? Or do they let you know early? I don't know.
When I get to the ref's office and I look at the paperwork for the upcoming event that's going on, I get my briefing just like any other secret agent or any other desk man or office man or James Bond like character does, and I see what's in there. Sometimes I have input, sometimes I don't, and sometimes wrestlers actually have input. So I go in with an open mind and zero, thought into I want to do this, I want to do that. So I don't want to burst the bubble, but no, I don't really get big anticipation. But I'm also someone who doesn't like having surprises ruined. I'm a big time. I'm not someone who's going to get a spoiler ruined for me because I just simply won't look. Straight up, I'm a big fan of surprises when it comes to stuff. But looking at the card, there's some big time people who are there, which is phenomenal. If John Wayne Murdoch's going to be there, dude.
Yeah. Him and Orin have on classic after classic this year, it seems. They got nominated for Match of the Year on IWTV for their Iron Man match. So shout out to the homie.
I mean, just to know guys who are doing it right now at the top of their level and to be in that same room, if there's anything I can do to help and get things rolling on his end. He's a cool dude, very cool dude. And I'm looking forward to the whole crew that we've got, just having a banger of a night.
Definitely. Gunnar, what are you looking forward to? I know you got a singles match.
Yep. Got a singles match versus Johnny CK. I worked him once in UTL a while back. It was pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to beating him up and throwing him around the ring again.
Good shit. And your tag partner, Chucky, also has a singles match. You going to be managing?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe. I know he's working Drake Daniels, which me and Drake have an upcoming match in the next couple months at some point. But, maybe go out there and Chucky might need all the help he can get against Drake. So if I could provide some help, I'd be willing to do so.
Yeah, more muscle is never a bad thing.
Nope.
And me and Zach, we got luxurious ones again.
Hopefully the last time. Because when we pull the W, they can't challenge us for the belts until we drop them. And Doc, I'm pretty sure you're on the same page. Plan on not dropping them.
Yeah, so Mav and Ethan will never get the shot at the titles again after Saturday. Country Air going out on top. Airbuds all day. Looking forward to it, especially after like this past weekend. Just want to get the taste of a bad match out of my mouth and put on a banger.
Yeah, I think if I know Mav and Ethan, I think it's probably gonna be coming out drinking White Claws. But once like we step foot out the entranceway, all the bull spit gets out. I'm gonna try not to cuss as much on this podcast.
It's whatever. It's whatever.
All the bull goes out, and I think it's gonna be like hopefully ending 2020 with a war and the right team coming out on top.
Yeah. It'll be a good one. They do drink their White Claws, but I think, once the punches start flying, we've put on banger matches, so it'll be another hard-hitting one, another messy one, another one for the fans to enjoy, with Country Air still being your ICW Tag Team Champions. All right. So, boys, I got nothing else. Anybody got any last words or any last thoughts they want to bring up?
I mean, Porn Stash just hit me up on Facebook about our quarantine Don't Rush challenge. So he wants another round being shared on Facebook. So if you guys want to go and share that round and anyone watching it, check it out. It was a good time between good brothers, just trying to keep a union going on over a time where no one was doing anything.
Yeah, true. And, this podcast is another attempt to just, keep doing stuff, keep putting out content. It was a good time. We definitely need to do something else like that probably again. Put on Wisconsin wrestling as much as we can.
Agreed.
All right. So if nobody has anything else, we will go ahead and sign off. This has been Doc, Perch, the Outlaw Zach Hendricks, the One Man Riot Squad, Gunner Wicks. Wow, I can't speak.
Just take her home.
Right,
Just take
Gunner Rex Moms and Daughters. The One Man Riot Squad, Gunner Rex Moms and Daughters. That's what we're
Rex.
Yep.
Yep. It's not for those little arms that he's got.
Yeah.
Little.
What are you doing with your arms, Gunner?
Come on now. I'm in the gym every day trying to make them bigger. You gotta hate on me.
Bigger than mine. And probably much stronger.
Yeah. All those moms and daughters he's dealing with, one in each arm.
I can fit a couple in each arm. But we don't gotta talk about that right now.
I think it's time to take her on home.
All right. Take it on home. Y'all be easy out there. One.
Later, guys.
Much love.
Yeah.